Welcome back to a new video. We are going to can tomato juice and make some tomato sauce. So here we have some frozen tomatoes. Mom's friend gave her, I think it was like 10 gallons, and we didn't want to do this right away, so we put them in the freezer. Note for you, don't do that. Either cut the cores and take the skins off of them, cut the cores off and then freeze them, or just don't do it this way, because it was such a pain when we were working with the frozen tomatoes. So this is actually mom's grandma's. It's a squeezo. What we do, you stick the tomatoes in the hopper bowl, whatever you want to call it here, and it goes down that tube. And as it grinds, it's supposed to take the seeds out and take the cores and the stems or whatever else you've got on there, and you just grind it until it comes out. They have different little like the cylinder thing where it's coming out now, you can see the red stuff. They've got different grates. Like there's a bigger one where it lets some seeds out, and then they've got some finer ones that strain like everything. The only thing getting through is juice. Depends. If you want yours, I would use the bigger one just for time's sake, and honestly it's just a headache to use the smaller ones. I actually broke the big one, so we ended up using a smaller one, and like I said, it's a pain. So if you can, just choose the big one and then strain it if you don't like any pulp or any seeds or anything in there. But you just put it in there and you spin it or crank the handle, and it is what it is there. And here you can see mom's just squishing them. So most of these are still frozen. We didn't wait long enough or thaw them out enough. We thought they'd be fine, but they weren't fine. But there she was just trying to squeeze them so that way they would go through. And just crank it. Oh yeah, she looks like she's having the best time of her life, right? And push it down some more, squish a little bit more. Make sure you have plenty of towels. We went through, I don't know how many towels, at least 10, I would say. And there was juice everywhere.
Idea, these frozen ones. However, it's grinding the skin up with it, and I don't want the skin in it. And then cut out any bad spots too while we're doing this, and your hands are going to be freezing. Well, and we may end up having to this one either. But my buckets over there are getting full because
Frozen pineapple?
they're thawing and I'm losing a lot of the juice.
I'm finding the ones that are thawed and putting them through this one because it'll go through. That's what we're doing. Yeah, I totally broke that. So now I'm working on
There we go.
the tomato sauce.
This bucket for the skins.
Okay, so take it over here.
Like, so that, like, anything you see there, go ahead and cut that off. If you cut this top part off, the skins peel off a whole lot easier. And put it in there. And if it's really, like, this one's pretty much thawed. If it's real juicy, I'll go like that and kind of squeeze it out because I don't want to lose the juice in here. So I've got these in the Instapot bowl. I'm gonna wipe down because there's a lot of condensation on the side. I'm gonna wipe this down and then I'm gonna stick it in the Instapot.
I have an Instapot, but if you have a regular crock pot or a roaster, that would work fine too. I'm gonna put it on the slow cook setting, which is basically a crock pot setting for the Instapot, and I'm gonna let it go. Do not pressure cook this. I'm not sure how that would turn out. We went ahead and laid these out single layer in baking pans because they weren't thawing out as fast as we wanted them, and our fingers were cold, and like I said, I broke the machine, so yeah. And on the stove is the tomato juice we had already strained and everything, and so Mom's putting those in her jars.
And the reason why they're already in this is because I wanted to make sure my jars were hot enough before I poured this hot tomato juice in it. So I put them on here and set them in the hot water bath for a few minutes, just to make sure they were hot enough. Set your gas in.
Teaspoon.
1 teaspoon.
And you do that because with different tomatoes, they have different acidity levels, and this just brings everything up, so it's safe to water bath instead of pressure cook.
Just to make sure everything's right. Making sure my rings are dry, my mouths are clean. Because apparently I got a dirty mouth. Not me, but... better. Okay. No, that's just color of it. Okay. Now we gotta watch it. I'm here for the boil.
Here for the boil?
Yeah.
Once you hear the rolling boil, then we went ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes. We are in mid-Missouri, so if you are at a higher or lower elevation, you may want to check your times because it will vary due to elevation. It's a good amount of juice. I forgot to record this part, but with what was in the Instant Pot, just the tomatoes, I went ahead and put them whole, what was left whole in a blender and blended them all up. As you can see, I mean, there's still quite a bit of pulp, and I'm using this little spatula to try to get it, strained through, because I'm making sauce. I don't want a bunch of chunks in it. I mean, some people like theirs chunky. I am not a fan. So I guess if you like chunky, and you can see there's tomato seeds in there as well. So, I mean, if you don't mind it, I guess you can skip this step, but I like a smooth sauce. So I went ahead and I was just straining it. It took forever to do the first batch, so I went ahead and my mom got this little thing. I don't even know what it's called, a tamper. I'm honestly not sure. But she gave me that, and I just basically swirled it around, and the sauce went through so much better, so much faster. So I, got rid of the little spatula thing. And yeah, I was using this, and I, hands down, I'm going to do it this way next time. Once you get done, once it's just basically pulp and tomato seeds, I went out, I was like, yeah, that's good enough. So I go ahead and I'm scraping that off. I did use the little green scraper to get that all out, but that's really the only way I used it after that. And as you can see, in the background, the sauce is really smooth. All right, last round is straining the sauce. So I'm just gonna basically repeat the same steps for this last one. And then after that, we are gonna be ready to can the sauce. In the meantime, you will find canning is super, or honestly making anything from scratch it's just super messy. So anytime you have a little bit of downtime when something's heating up, or you're waiting on something else, clean up your mess, because it's going to pile up and it's just going to be chaotic. So when you got a couple seconds, do a little scrubby, wipe down, clean down, put things in the sink. If you have time, go ahead and do some dishes. It's honestly, clean as you go is the best policy. Be sure to put your towel down. Anytime you're doing anything with canning, you want to make sure there's some kind of barrier between those hot canning jars and your counter. Not only because, I mean, depending on what kind of counter, I guess it could possibly burn it, but you don't want to clang a hot jar on a hard countertop and bust everything you just did. So go ahead and put your towel down. Go ahead and get your jars, your funnel, and a wet wash rag, or damp wash rag, I should say. So that way you can go ahead and clean the mouths off of the jars once you get done. Because if you don't, and there's some sauce or something that happened to slip off and get on there, it's not going to seal properly. So it's just a waste. Anyway, so go ahead and scoop it up, fill up your jars. I would leave about an inch of space up at the top, and maybe, I mean, I fill it all the way up to the bottom of the brim there, where the mouth is. So yeah, just fill it up and then move on to the next one.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Well, we figured out we did not have enough sauce for the jars that we had prepared. So what we're going to do, we are going to get 2 of the little jars that we had just put through the sanitized cycle in the dishwasher, and we're just going to fill those up, and we're just going to do it with small jars. Yeah, so we are doing it this way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get the lids and go ahead and get them in the hot water. If you have the newer type, supposedly you don't have to do this. We know we have the older type, so I mean, because Mom had stockpiled them from a hot minute ago. So we're going to go ahead, put them in some hot water, let them soak there, and I'm just wiping off the brim so that way we make sure we don't have any sauce or anything like that on them. And I'm putting in a half a teaspoon of the citric acid, since these are smaller jars than the juice we canned. Like I said, since different tomatoes have different acidity levels, this brings everything to a certain level, so that way it's safe to water bath. Wipe again. And honestly, this is my first time I've actually done this part, so give me a break. I'm getting it. Before you know it, I'm basically going to be a professional. And what you're going to want to do here is take the jars. Since I've only got 3, and this particular rack holds 6, I'm going to go ahead and skip every other one, so that way they're even, so that way not all the cans are all on one side of the water bath. I don't know that would affect it. It very well may, but I just wanted to make sure it was even just in case. Once you've got all your jars in, make sure that there is water over the top of them. You don't want your jars taken out of the water. Cover it, and then once it hits a rolling boil, process for 25 minutes. And like I said, if your altitude is different, check your time. And there you have it. This is the final product. And also, since there's no preservatives or anything in there, it's normal for the juice to separate. So just shake it up before you use it. And these are 3.5 little cans of pasta sauce. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who might enjoy this video. Thanks for your support.